It's Dave.
And Jerry.
And Dan.
All right, and welcome to another episode of Hooked on Headwaters. Today we are at the Davis House Inn here in Sebastian, and as you can see, it is a very rainy day. It's been raining
Since yesterday morning. It's just Sunday night about 3 in the morning. Monday, yesterday, 3 in the morning. Yesterday morning is
pretty much. So we've all had canceled trips and can't get out fishing. But so with that said, we're gonna bring the fishing to you and give you some updates. We've got some videos, some good images of trips these guys have made. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch some of the recent videos, I did a great trip with Captain Jerry here. We went on an airboat trip back to Lake Kenansville, and we hooked into some nice bass. I also went out with this guy, Captain Dan. We covered the blockages in Headwaters, the S Canal, and we also did a little fishing. Which that's going to be a bonus segment today. So we hooked them up, and Dan's going to tell us about that episode. So let's go ahead, and I'll turn it over to Captain Jerry, and he's going to give us a fishing report and talk about his trips.
All right. So we've been all over. Been in Kenansville.
Yep.
In the last couple of weeks, I want to say in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been in Kenansville, Farm 13, Stick Marsh, and Headwaters. And we've been doing really well. The fish, they seem like they were a little bit behind, maybe 3 or 4 weeks behind. The water's a little high still. But in the last week, 2 weeks, I've really gotten into some areas now that I was catching them in last year that we're catching them in again. And the biggest one we've caught in the last couple of weeks is 9 pounds, 11 ounces.
Nice.
Super deep water, free line and shiners. And they seem to be, these fish that seem to be in the deeper water, they're right adjacent to shallower water.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, we've been having trips. I took my mom and my sister out the other day. They hadn't fished in 15 years, and they caught 6.5 pounds was the biggest fish they caught, but they had a blast. And I've had multiple trips in the last week or so, and yeah, man, fish are going. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing right now.
It's on.
It is. It really is right now. They're doing their thing.
Yeah. And we got some pictures, right?
Oh, we got pictures. We got some videos. Actually, my girlfriend took a video of my sister catching one the other day, 6.5 pounds. She got it from start to finish, so it's a good video. And yeah, we've got a lot of pictures, and I'll get them to you, and you can get them out on the video.
We'll be showing that to you right now.
Yeah.
Welcome back. And now, Jerry, anything else?
No, I think that's it. Other than, you guys going to talk about any blockage or anything? Y'all want me to tell you what's going on with the canal?
Yeah, please, update us.
So I was in there last week, and I was hearing airboats running off in the distance, and I kind of figured that's what they were doing. They were starting to clean that thing out.
Okay,
so
good.
they did. They came in, they had, the state had 3 airboats, and then they had this little machine that I've never seen before. Dan, you might have seen it, but it's a little yellow.
Yep.
You've seen it, okay. So this little thing's bad, right? It's got like a track hoe, I don't know,
like slash
boat, but it has a grapple on the front. Yeah. So they came in and they cleaned the canals completely out, at least the S Canal. They cleaned it all the way out. It's open. You can run it all the way from the boat ramp. You can turn off into the North Lake, or you can run it all the way down to the East-West Canal. Now, there still is a little bit of blockage in the East-West Canal, but you can just kind of run to the south. Yeah. Just come to the south around the blockage. It's not very big, over around the cypress trees, and you can come right back in the canal, and that's it. Yeah. And everything else is clear, man. It's good. Lake's in good shape.
I would say look out for the flagpole, but
there's no flag there.
The flag is torn up after 2 hurricanes.
Somebody just said something to me. So didn't y'all just put the flag out?
We are going back out and sending up the flag. Hopefully next week
we'll get you a new flag.
We'll get you a new flag.
That wind's
It'll be there by next week.
You think it gets windy out there, huh?
Yeah. That flag is gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
Again,
it's just a pole.
Pretty much back-to-back hurricanes will do that.
Yeah.
We'll be out next week.
Yeah, and the water's a little bit high still, but 13. I think it's about 13 inches high right now.
Okay. Yeah. But now talking about blockages, a customer and friend of mine, Patrick Baines from Georgia, and his dad were coming in. Patrick's eat up with bass fishing like we all are, and he fished right up till about dark, and we had that wind, and he come in just before dark and got right back from coming out of the northern part of the lake into the cut there, into the S Canal, and a blockage had blown in.
While he was there.
While he was fishing, he called me, and it was dark. He said, I have never been on, it's overcast. He said, I've never been on a lake so dark in my life.
Yeah.
So I tried to help him, gave him a different route to go. He ended up being able to kind of work through there. It took him quite a while, and it was raining.
Oof.
And they caught some. They didn't do real well that day. They had a tough time, but he went back the next day, and I think he said they caught 39. So
it's crazy.
Several on shiners and stuff. So some days we really catching them, and other days, other days we don't.
I have a similar story. I was in a kayak tournament. I go out about 2 weeks ago, Friday, to do a little pre-fishing. Wind's blowing out of the southwest that day, which is unusual for this time of year.
Yeah.
But man, I found the fish. Water's being pushed up. I said, man, I got some nice fish. This is pre-fishing now. Some nice 3, 4, some nice 5-pounders, about 5 of them. So within like 3 hours, if that. So I'm good. I'm golden for tomorrow. All right.
Nope.
Yep.
It
Come
changed.
Saturday morning.
It changed.
The wind did. Yes.
Yeah.
The wind started blowing out of the north.
Which unfortunately
buying one.
It messed you up, but this time of year, that's what I want, is that northeast wind. That's just I feel like
for
that's
this
what they
particular spot.
It was not good.
Not good. I caught one.
The life and times of a tournament fisherman. That's the way it always
That was
is.
it. I was so confident. I was pumped. This is it, man.
It'll move sometimes while you're in there. While you're in there fishing, it'll move. While you're right in the middle of fishing, it'll move.
And speaking of those islands, I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I mentioned this during the video, the blockage video. When kayaking in Headwaters, found the spot off to the east. I go in, I'm fishing. A couple hours later, I head back out, and the opening
It's gone.
Gone. It's just
Sucked
locked
in.
Now I'm in a pedal kayak, so this is not going through. I'm getting ready to call one of these two guys to come rescue me. Seriously.
Yeah.
So I get my paddle out and I start kind of pushing my way over and through, and let me tell you, I was huffing and puffing.
Guys, that's
sucking wind.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea too. If you're going to be out there in a kayak or something like that, Dave. A lot of mornings he'll send me a text and let me know his float plan, where he's going to be. Even if I'm not on the lake and I'm in town or something, and if something happens to him, I know where he's at.
And I'm going to be doing a kayak safety video.
Make sure people know where you are.
One of those things is in the boating world called a float plan. You let people know where you're going to be, approximately the time, how long you're going to be there.
That's right.
If things change drastically, let somebody know. And I let these two guys know. They're very familiar with the lake, so if something happens, I don't show up, my wife can call them.
We can get there at least.
And when I get off the lake, I also text them, hey, I'm done, I'm off the lake. So someone knows where, especially on Headwaters Lake, where it's just, again, the landscape changes.
That's right.
And you just never know. So important, if you're kayaking, let people know where you're going, when you're going. And keep those phones charged.
Yeah.
And one last thing, if you see your phone is running out, call somebody and let them know approximately where you are, and let them know my phone is kind of done, so I'm going to stay here put and waiting for you. All right, Dan. What's going on?
Well, I had a good trip just the other day, a couple days ago, with Eric and Michelle Perez. Fantastic people. Had a good time with them. Learned a lot about this guy.
Big fish too.
Yeah, well, she caught a 6.5 was her big fish for the day. We caught decent numbers. It was a tough day. But the other outside of the fishing, it was nice to fish for these people. Eric used to be a redfish guide in Mosquito Lagoon for many years for fly fishing. He fished a lot of the Redfish Cup, the big televised events.
Oh, wow.
This cat knows how to fish.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, and it's such a pleasure to fish with him. But we had a good day. We did combo with shiners and some artificial. Caught most of them on shiners, which is typical. And his wife Michelle I showed her the drop shot that
Oh boy.
Bill from Montana told us
All right,
about.
Bill.
Does she catch
They
fish
got
on it
us
too?
hooked- Oh, she's wound up about a drop shot now. So, and I'm actually fishing with them again this coming Saturday. So I've already got one rigged up for her. So I'm looking forward to that. But we did okay. Some of the stuff, like Jerry and I fished some similar areas. Some of the areas that I've been catching them, I wasn't, and some that I have been. You know, that this time of year, last year, I was. So.
Things are different. There's some things this year that I see that
A little bit different.
yeah, it's like I saw a bunch of lily pads in an area already this year that we fished last year that there were no,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, you're not gonna be able to fish in there this year. That's just, I don't know if it's cycles, a couple 2-year cycles or.
Yeah, those big flat pads.
Yeah. By the
they'll
flagpole.
come and go like Garcia's, which is a lake that's a few miles south of Headwaters. That I kind of cut my teeth on bass fishing. That every couple of years, it's a different lake almost because it changes so much. That's the way most Florida marsh type lakes. Like Jerry knows, Jerry spent
cycles,
days and weeks running the marshes, and it changes.
Yeah.
The marsh changes. So these marshier, shallower water lakes, they change a lot. But like say Lake Kissimmee, Lake Okeechobee, they don't change holistically as the whole lake doesn't change as much. Where like a smaller bodies of basically it's a reservoir, they change frequently.
Especially headwaters.
Yeah. So what I'm interested in this year, how things are going to be, is we've had consistently higher water, much higher than it was last year. And I'm sure you noticed, the hydrilla has caught up and is now topped out where it wasn't
not
that
last
way.
year.
So we got a lot more hydrilla and a bit more water too.
That's funny, man.
So it's going to be interesting.
I was like,
I'm wondering if that's going to
am I in the
affect
wrong
the spawn.
spot? This is what I thought the other day. I had to look around. I literally had to look. I was like,
Yeah.
there should not be any hydrilla topped out in here like this, but there is.
Yeah.
Geez, I've had that happen to me while I'm fishing.
So what do you
I'm
think that's
fishing
gonna
and I
do,
look up,
Dan?
Things change.
Jerry, I don't know. I'm curious if it's going to
Well, let me
change
ask you
the
this,
spawn a
because
bit.
the water's higher, so the fish are gonna, they got to be at a certain depth, 4 to 6 foot, whatever it may be, 5 to 8. I don't know exactly what the depth is, but if the water's higher, I would think that they're going to be. Now, but here's the question: will the water still be that high in January and February?
Right.
Depends on how much rain we get, obviously.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
I don't know,
like today.
I've seen, so at Headwaters, I've seen bass spawning in as little as 1.5 foot and as deep as 7. Okay. So a lot of it just depends on the bottom, and how thick the grass is. They're going to fan beds whether there's hydrilla there or not, and a lot of times they'll fan it out, and it's that's just the way they're going to spawn no matter what.
See, what I think is going to be good about Kenansville though is they did come in and spray it, but they just touched it up. They just like 50 acres here, 50. You know what I'm saying? About 1,200 acres of the lake, of the 2,500 is okay. And
that was early in the year, right?
Well, they come in the same time as they did last year, around September, October, right in the beginning of October.
Right. That was a question.
I was in Headwaters in the North Flats fishing Zero Spooks and saw 2 helicopters fly over with the spray rigs on them. I knew where they were headed, but they didn't kill it. I mean, they didn't really burn it up this year. So a lot of that vegetation, a lot of those water hyacinths, that water cabbage, all of those things, that hydrilla, all of it together that was there the year before last that made it so phenomenal is there again. So. And then last year it wasn't there, and you could see if you ran in your airboat right down the banks, you could just see giant females scattering everywhere. And that tells me the reason we were catching them the year before underneath all them hyacinths is because them hyacinths were covering bedding areas. And it's like that again. And if it is, man, there'll be some well, there was a 14-2 called out of there. Remember we talked about that last month. There was a 14-2 called out of Kenansville. So and a game warden told me that. So that's gospel.
Here's a question that we have. It came up on it was a comment regarding circle hooks. Are circle hooks required in Kenansville?
I don't think they are.
Okay, neither do I.
No. There's never been a rule.
There's never been research real quick. I couldn't find.
There's never been a rule. There's never been a rule that has been put in place for something like that, except for Lake Headwaters. Yeah, Kenansville, you can still use a regular shiner hook, a regular Gamakatsu shiner hook, or anything like that. The beaky hooks, I like. The beaky hooks are good. I like
Kale hooks.
The Kale hooks are good, and I'm using a Demon now, Mustad. I like all your Mustad hooks, and I'm using a 4/0 Demon now, which is it's a circle hook, a live bait hook. Small, very small, but very heavy gauge. I mean, you could probably bring a tuna in on it, but.
Right.
I want to be Sure.
Yeah, I like the trocar.
They're real good too.
The inline circle hook in a 3/0 and a 4/0. And you know what I find I like? I always used to use kale hooks before they put the rule in. Honestly,
I still have a
the
bunch
fish
of them.
you can still gut hook fish with circle hooks. So
Sure, you
happened to us.
absolutely you
Yeah.
can. Don't
So,
ever
circle
think for a
hook.
second that you cannot.
yeah, it definitely happens.
But we rescued. That was a good rescue.
Yeah, it
you
did.
guys watched that segment during the trip. Jerry and I went. This
Yeah.
thing was through his mouth, wrapped around.
It was double hooked, and I was
around the gill.
And you'll actually hear me say, I don't really know what to do with this thing.
But
what I did is I
rescued that fish.
just cut the line and basically ran the hook right back through the way it came in, and it popped right back out the top.
that was
and
good.
that was it.
That was good.
But you can listen. You guys, people, Dave will tell you when that cork goes under, I'm on him.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
mess around
Yeah.
with him. I'm
Right.
on him right then.
Yeah.
You can let these guys have this shiner too long, man, and they will get it down in their gut.
That's all.
Then if that happens, the best thing to do is you have to come in through the bottom of their gill plate and put that plier on that hook and spin that plier, and it'll turn that hook upside down and it'll pop right back
Yeah,
out. It's
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
easier to show you in person, but it works. But I try not to let that happen, man, because I mean I just do not want to gut hook these fish.
Yeah.
So
And
I'd rather
do that-
miss him
Right, then
than gut hook him.
Yeah.
So
But, something else I did notice about those trocars, and it's probably most of the circle hooks now. I remember the kale hooks. You ever hooked a bait on and you're getting ready to throw him and he flips off the hook?
Absolutely.
So many times.
Yeah.
That happens a lot less, so I save a lot of bait.
Yeah.
I
They
call
don't
that
flip
not
off.
making the flight.
Yep.
yeah.
And I tell people that, sometimes, you got a bait on, the first bait, and you throw it out there, and it comes off, and you're like, oh, Lord, this is not going well. So then just for a little while, you start hooking them through the back, just to get a
Get
couple
them
out
out
there,
there.
get them catch a couple fish, and then you go back and hooking them through the mouth. But, yeah, you're right, that circle hook, they will, because, sometimes, we're throwing, 60, 100 feet?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
right.
that shiner's just flopping the whole way through the air, and they'll come off in mid-flight. Yeah.
And if you do multiple, eventually it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the worst time for losing shiners is put the bait on the hook and you're holding the bait over the water and the shiner's flopping. I don't throw him in the water. I just slide him in the water and kind of feed the line right in the water. Boom, he's in the water.
Exactly right.
And you'll lose a lot less
I
shiners.
tell
that
customers
way.
all the time, now listen, I'm going to take this thing and hook him, and I'm just going to put him in the water immediately just to let him calm down.
Right.
Then you can try to.
Then you just lift him out of the water.
And don't ever. I just pitch him. Lob him. Just lob him.
The big lob. Okay, before we continue, be sure that we thank the Davis House Inn. That's where we're filming from today. This is in Sebastian, Florida. It's about 20 minutes more or less, from the Headwaters boat ramp. A phenomenal place to stay. These are kind of utility rooms, so they've got the refrigerator, the stove, efficiency. It is a really phenomenal place to stay. We highly recommend it. They can accommodate your boat. Kyle will give you electrical and water hookups.
Yeah, there's a bass boat right over there right
there.
now. Matter of fact, it's hooked up to power. They're staying here now. Yeah, so it's a good,
Great eateries, phenomenal restaurants in both directions. And again, we highly recommend it. And if you mention Hooked on Headwaters, Kyle will give you a discount. So I'm going to ask Dan to give us an update about our trip.
Okay.
We fished them.
All right. So what we did, we went out in the afternoon and we shot the video for the blockages.
Right.
And then we did it kind of double duty and we did some fishing. What we caught them on, for the most part, we started off with Squarebills, which I talk about Squarebills all the time. It's effective. That's why I like to do it.
Look how pretty.
Yeah, that's become one of my favorite colors. So that's Jerry. That's
I like
purple
that.
and white.
Very nice.
That is a Strike King 1.5, and I like a lot of different colors, guys. I'll throw.
It's that white belly you think does it?
I don't know. I just try to mimic
I like that.
a bluegill.
Yeah, it looks
That's
just like one
got
too,
some
man.
bluegill colors.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we were catching them on that starting off, and also on just a rattle trap. Now
That's one of my favorite
That's what I call
artificial
mine.
lures right there.
don't make fun of me.
Look how beat up that thing is, folks.
Yeah, don't make fun of me because
Folks,
I
look
got
at
an
this
ugly
lure.
rattle
He's been
trap.
to war.
Hey, is this thing called a bass or two, you think? Good Lord,
I
Dan.
beat the paint off of it, or the fish beat the paint off of it. Maybe I did some too.
I got a couple brand new ones like that. I'll give
I
you
call
one,
him on
Bubba.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I got a brand new blue and silver one. You can have it.
Yeah, I might need it.
That thing's been
Yeah.
for war.
Brother, I'm going to tell you right now, that thing is beat. You don't usually keep them that long.
No.
You know, so here's the thing about a rattle trap.
But now you got confidence in that one, though, don't you?
Well, that's the thing.
That's
Now,
the thing.
I've had baits, rattle traps, not many times, once or twice,
That one works.
that I'll throw this color and then I'll throw the same color, and one seems to outperform the other. I don't know. So, with these baits, guys, this is how I fish them. Just because I fish it doesn't make the only way to fish it. We're fishing them fast.
Yeah, real fast.
Really fast. Get this rod out of my face here.
Quite like that too, man.
So we're fishing them fast. So fast, in fact, that the whole key to me with fishing these, like what we've been doing lately, is fish them so fast. As long as it doesn't roll up out of the water, you're good.
Right.
So I make multiple casts. So typically a guy that would cast regular crankbait and he's bringing it in, I can make at least 2 casts his one, maybe 3.
We're ripping it.
So I mean, really fast. I also, what I'll do is as I'm reeling, I'm talking fast, guys, like a quarter second pause, stop and start again, and do that multiple times throughout your cast. If I hit grass,
Tell us about that. That didn't come on there.
yeah, I'll tell you about that in a second. So I rip this stuff out of the grass. So the rods I fish them on are kind of important. This has got a pretty fast tip. This happens to be a favorite, little 7.6. I think it's a medium action rod. It's just a little bit lighter rod.
Like that rod.
Yeah.
I'm fishing this on 20-pound braid with a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader with a line-to-line knot. I like this setup so I can clear it of the grass. So it gets hung in the grass, I can snatch it out, and I don't have a lot of stretch. I use the softer rods.
The shock.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shock absorber. That's how I really like fishing this stuff. Back years ago, I would never use braid for throwing crankbaits because it just
There's no stretch.
There's no stretch, and I just didn't like it. But now I use a lot
That
of braid.
tip right there will keep you from jerking that hook out of that fish's mouth.
Yeah, it's a
too.
softer
That's-
rod, and this happens to be this other rod here is
Especially
a.
if you're speed reeling and he just whacks it,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying, to keep
Yeah.
from ripping it out of him, then you can just,
Look at there.
That's all right.
That's all right. Ain't gonna hurt.
We do that
So
about
this is a
40
really
times a day.
soft action rod.
yeah.
That's a cranking rod.
I'll clean this up. Yeah, it's a crankbait rod. I'll clean up my mess in a minute. So on from that. Now this one, I lost my rattle trap down there. So on the rattle trap, I changed my hooks, guys. I know you can buy some of these baits now that have good quality hooks, like an Owner, Gamakatsu, VMC,
Some of them,
whatever.
not all of them.
But what about like the rattle trap, saltwater traps? Do you see that they have the better hooks on them?
I haven't looked at those
Okay.
recently. Sometimes you'll have just a regular old rattle trap with the not so good hooks on it, and then sometimes you can buy and pay a little more.
And that's what you're putting on them?
Yeah, I'm running.
Both of them the same?
I know people that change them up right away. They just don't,
yeah,
they
absolutely.
just don't use the manufacturer.
Sure.
Yeah,
The hooks that come
that
with-
has the manufacturer's hooks on them.
These are pretty stout.
I
on
think
the-
that they make it swim a little better too. I think they make it
Yeah.
swim a little
Yeah.
different. You think so? Or?
Sometimes I'll upsize my hooks as long as they're not got a real long shank. These
Okay.
happen to be the Gamakatsu extra
Short
wide
shanks.
gap. This is a shorter shank hook. This is a number 6.
How many
and
come in?
number
Oh, 2.
4.
How many come in a pack? 6?
Yeah, I think so.
That's 3 traps.
I say it's a number.
Yeah, 6.
I can't see. without my
Number 2.
glasses.
Number two. Number two.
Number 2.
Size
Okay,
2.
yeah. Excuse me.
2.
That's a number 2 and a number 4.
Yep.
Boy, should we go over this and do this right? Don't listen to anything I say. That makes no sense. Number 2 and a number 4.
Have fun.
We're going to get him through it.
So, I need all the help I can get. I can assure
We're
you.
going to get all his toys cleaned up. We're going to get him straightened out here in a minute.
So
He can fish though.
Got that right.
So on this one, I have not changed the hooks. This is like the Strike King, like I was saying earlier, Squarebill 1.5. These hooks that come on this are decent. I definitely prefer these Gamakatsu extra wide gap. It's a little bit different shape hook. I feel that it hooks the fish and holds the fish better.
But it's short shank though.
They're both short shank, yeah. That's an important part so your two hooks don't get
Yes.
caught together. What I have noticed a couple times is the hooks, I've actually had hooks break on the manufacturer hooks.
Right.
So, but you know, this isn't the only color. I've got, they call it the sexy shad, I'll throw that.
Yeah, that's a
this-
good, yes.
I kind of like this one because of the purple back.
You still ripping it through the grass, or are you just fishing
Jerry,
it now
almost
above the
all the
hydro?
time.
You're
when I'm
ripping,
fishing, I'm
ripping
fishing
it.
fast. I'm fishing
There it is.
fast.
Yep.
I mean, if you think you're fishing too fast, speed up. As long as it doesn't, yeah.
But
as
you're
long as
not fishing at 10 foot of water where that hydrilla is only coming 4 foot off the bottom. I mean,
Oh, I will.
But,
I will, sure.
but you're actually, you're in it. I mean, you're actually
right
throwing
on.
in it.
Well, you know,
On the edge. Yeah.
I'm more likely to throw this right up next to the
the
grass,
high-
thick
the
grass,
ledge.
where
Yeah.
the rattle trap. I fight
You
the
know, the
grass
thing
all the
is,
time.
though, yeah, and the thing is, in Headwaters is, I mean,
It's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you
It's
can't
everywhere.
avoid it.
I was in 18 foot of water the other day and brung up, and I mean, the deepest green, healthiest looking hydrilla
Yeah,
that you
in 18
ever.
foot of
I
water.
mean, it's so
Yeah,
green and neon. It's just
Yeah.
like, wow, look at that, and it's
Yeah.
coming from deep, down
Yeah.
deep. It's healthy.
So yeah, but I fish this in areas where I've got some cleaner water, clear of. Well, I can't talk today. Kind of clear of hydrilla. I hang a lot of hydrilla, as you saw.
Yeah.
You'll see some. You might see some in the video that Dave.
But that rip sometimes is what draws the strike.
Right, yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's where the braid comes in, guys. Is you got no stretch, then so I snatch it. I don't. If you I'm hung in grass and you try to pull it, you're going to get the long string of grass.
Just rip it
it's
out
going to
of
be a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I've had customers that aren't super proficient. That you know they just. If they're older folks that just have a hard time really fishing that fast, I may not fish this because it's kind of a labor-intensive bait. But as you saw the other day, both our hands were tired
Yeah, right.
fishing them fast. But that's draws the strikes, and what you'll see in some of the video, and I think we mentioned
I like that bait.
is you'll notice a lot of these fish are not actually hooked inside of the mouth. They're hooked around about the head. We've
They're
got one
just
underneath,
striking
one on top
at
of the
it.
head.
They're
hitting
rolling at it.
I think with their mouth closed. That's why new sharp hooks are important.
Really?
You'll still catch the fish. I think we caught what 3 or 4 that were foul hooked right there.
Yeah,
at one
yeah.
spot.
Well, partially mouth and under
they're
over
hitting
the
it.
top.
Yeah, one we
that's
caught
good.
underneath.
They're
and-
imagine
rolling
they're
up on
rolling
it,
on
just
it.
hitting it.
Yeah, so sometimes you cast and you be burning and boom, boom, you feel a couple hits and you throw it right back and you finally hook one. But super fast. I fish it really, really fast. Fast as I can reel it. Just
What's
about.
the gear ratio on that reel?
I think they are 7, 5 to 1,
Yeah.
something like that. 8 to 1. The Shimano's I think an 8 to 1.
That's like 28 inches of
Yeah.
line per turn.
Yeah,
or
depending on the
something.
spool, yeah.
that's
So
up
I got a
there.
high gear ratio
Yeah,
reel.
that's up there.
Yeah.
If you do it with a low gear ratio reel, you're gonna
You're gonna
wear
be
yourself
spinning.
out. Yeah, you'll have
Move this much.
you'll have some
You just
torque.
want to reel like this and it really be reeling fat.
You'll have some torque, but it's going to take you a while. But yeah, that's what. So that day was right after that our last Hurricane Nicole.
Right.
And Dave and I were going to shoot a video and said, "Oh, let's just go search around." And I use these two baits a lot for search baits. I think I know I can cover a lot of water, and I can get reaction strikes. The reason I fish it fast is I want to force those fish into
eat it.
biting,
Come on.
or at least hit it. And then if I snag him in the head, hey, as long
who
as I
cares?
catch
He's
him, I
caught,
don't care.
caught,
He's caught. Yeah, it's not like I'm in a tournament sight fishing on a bed where you got to hook him in the mouth to have a legal catch. This is a different deal. It's putting him in the boat.
Yeah.
You know. And now I'm not saying we're snagging them in the back. These fish are actually hitting at the lure, whether they have their mouth open or not. That's their business. So if they want to be a
predict that.
knucklehead and be aggressive, well then you'll get caught and released, and we'll appreciate it.
Now, when I'm kayaking, since I'm in really close quarters, I will sometimes, I hate treble hooks because I've had hundreds of them in my thighs, in my arms, that's in a kayak.
Yeah.
So I will put a single inline hook, inline. So don't just buy a hook and put it in here because it's going to be twisted this way.
Correct.
It's got to be an inline
Yep.
where the loop and the hook line up. I'll put it on the rear. And I'll keep the treble
up
here.
front and put an inline on the back of the single.
Yeah, I may miss a few.
It's almost like a trailer hook's what it is.
Yeah,
really,
I may
kinda.
miss a few, but again, when you're working in a kayak, it's just fish flopping around with treble hooks all over.
Yeah, that's not fun.
That's the way. That's what I do anyway.
Dude, I'm not even
Inline.
fishing and I've got a tangle over here. Trying to be slick and pick up my bait so I can put it back on the table.
Oh, you got one.
Oh my God.
And folks, in closing out, I wanted to mention Blue Cypress Lakeside Cabins. Hey, if you're looking for a kind of more of a rustic setting right on the shores of Blue Cypress Lakes, check these guys out. It is a great place to stay. Again, right on the lake. A fabulous porch in the back. It's got a grill, great place to hang out, great place to.
If you want to get away
a
from,
nice adult drink at the end of the day.
if you want to get away from town,
Yep.
and
That's
just be
the
out
place.
somewhere and watch the birds fly and the sunset and top of the cypress trees and that. I mean,
And good chance to
Yeah.
watch an eagle fly.
Gators.
Lots of eagles there.
Man.
And your boat is
right there.
10 feet,
Right there.
literally 10 feet from where you're sitting or barbecuing.
Check out Jim and Tammy. They will take care of you. They're awesome hosts. And we mentioned Hooked on Headwaters. There's a discount in for you. Don't forget, thanks American Bait Works for your
yeah.
support.
Oh, we have been catching some on boppers too.
Yep.
on net bait
Those
boppers.
big boppers and the mega boppers.
Yep.
Especially the June bug worked well for me, and the Okeechobee craw. Those two colors.
Are all,
I like
they
those
just
pretty
always,
broad.
man. Them colors are always good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you go to their site and use the Headwaters 15, you get 15% off their all their products: rods, reels, terminal tackle, lures, every baits. So check them out.
Absolutely.
It's a good deal. It's a
Yeah,
good
man.
deal. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching.
Have a good
Appreciate
Thanksgiving.
you. Have a wonderful, great, happy Thanksgiving. Be thankful for those around the table. Even that one uncle. Be thankful for what God has given you.
Yeah, man.
And give us a call.
Absolutely.
Come fish with
This is real. These are we're the three guides. I do the kayak guiding, airboat, and bass boat. So give us a call if you're planning a trip down. You know, it's winter here. Folks are gonna start coming down from the north. If you're planning a trip, book early. Come on down. Alrighty, so long everyone. And again, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Have a good Thanksgiving,
Thanks for watching.
folks.
God bless you.